Well, overall, Amgen's sales did rise by 20%, but the company did say lower net selling prices partially offset a 26% growth in volume for products in the second quarter. We got the chance to speak with the Amgen's chief financial officer, Peter Griffith, on the price pressures and the enthusiasm surrounding that obesity drug.
Price pressures have been in the industry since about 2018, and we deal with them, and we deal with them really effectively, and we'll continue to do that. So we continue to stay focused on productivity and prioritization. We believe that there's going to continue to be price pressure going forward, and that it's important to us in making sure we have the capital allocate to innovation, our first capital allocation here at Amgen, and to our pipeline to make sure that we address those decrease in prices. Certainly they come from the market, they come from pressures from payers, they come from pressures from the IRA and 340B and so forth, but we're fully prepared to deal with them and have dealt with them successfully since about 2018 when the industry started to see those secular pressures on pricing.
And obviously also more than making up for it with the increase in volumes as well that I alluded to. As you're aware, there is a little bit of an increasing narrative and concern being expressed on the part of economists and market participants about the U.S. economy and whether we are seeing a sharper slowdown or even potentially recession. Now, I know healthcare firms are a little bit more insulated from that, but I am wondering if you all are seeing any kind of signs in demand for even some more of your products that you would consider more discretionary. I know there aren't many of them. Are you seeing any kinds of signs of economic weakness in your numbers?
Well, thank you. You highlighted it when we started, Julie, which is 12 products delivered at least double-digit sales growth during the quarter. And so our volume growth is very strong, and we expect it to continue to be strong. And so as we go forward during the last half of the year, as you would note, we raised the bottom end of our guidance from 32.5 to 32.8 billion of revenue. So we raised the midpoint on revenue 150 million, and we really see volume strong going forward. And we were up 45% or so in volume on Repatha in the cardiovascular business to $532 million of revenue in the quarter. Cardiovascular disease doesn't slow down with a slowing in the market and a recession, and that's a very important medicine. Evenity in our bone franchise was up 39% in the quarter to 391 million, and that treats a postmenopausal osteoporosis disease, and that's going to be a disease that's only getting more and more prevalent. So also Tezspire was up 76% in the quarter, treating severe asthma, and that was driven by volume. And so we see in our medicines, which are innovative medicines, first in class and or best in class medicines for patients with really serious illnesses, we're fortunate to be able to continue to deliver those generally regardless of economic conditions, and we intend on doing that.
Definitely, Peter. I know that you're going to hate this because everyone is looking at Amgen for the near term and for MariTide. That's something that you just can't run away from. There's so much enthusiasm behind it. So talk to me about that and sort of how you're thinking about how you're going to be placed in the market, considering there doesn't seem to be any slowdown in terms of the race between Lilly and Novo. Viking is also now a serious contender. And then you also have the compounding that doesn't seem to be going away. So it's starting to already look like a pretty saturated market.
Well, Anjali, no, I'm not going to hate that question. Obesity is a terrible disease, and we are prepared at Amgen to build on that as a platform. And we've said that when you and I have talked in prior quarters. We're confident in the differentiated profile of MariTide. We are looking forward to the top line phase 2 data towards the end of this year. We are laser focused on preparing to move as quickly as we can on a very broad phase 3 program for obesity-related conditions, and diabetes. We increased research and development spend 30% year over year. We gave a guide, and we will give a guide that research and development on a non-GAAP basis will increase greater than 25% in the coming year, because we want to invest in this and move it forward as quickly as possible. We raised our CapEx guide to $1.3 billion for the rest of the year, covering multiple priorities, but certainly including MariTide and preparing for that. So we look forward to moving forward on this medicine, which we see as a differentiated profile. Just as a reminder, we see it in a patient-friendly, convenient, handheld auto-injector device that would be used once a month or maybe even less often, certainly subject to approval. But we're excited about what's happening there. There's not a week that goes by when there's not a question about an additional obesity-related condition. Let's talk about chronic kidney disease that appears to be efficaciously treated by these drugs. And let's talk about cardiovascular disease, two areas that Amgen's been in for a long, long time. So we looking forward to moving the medicine forward. We hope to work with regulators and get it approved when the time comes. And those obesity-related conditions are creating opportunities that we'd like to participate in this global health crisis, and we're investing in the business to do that.
Well, it looks like the timeline based on that is also a little bit more extended because of the payment structure, right? We know that the payers aren't really too keen, and so it leaves it to out-of-pocket costs for that coverage. And so once you get to the other comorbidities, that's sort of what opens up the door. And so I'm wondering what the timeline looks like for that, for MariTide.
Well, we haven't shared the timeline for MariTide. We expect top-line data towards the end of this year. We've accelerated our planning and our activities around that broad phase 3 program, and that's what we're focused on right now, and spending a lot of time thinking about manufacturing capacity and making sure we do our best to be fully prepared when MariTide is ready to launch.
And we will be fully prepared to get those updates from you as you're ready to give them, Peter. Thank you so much from Anjali and I. Appreciate your time.